New allegations of sexual misconduct have surfaced again against CPAC's Schlapp, who allegedly sexually assaulted a man at a Virginia bar last weekend. So these are allegations, but I should note this is now the second time a man has come forward with allegations of sexual misconduct carried out by Schlapp. Now, this is the latest accusation. And he is the chairman of a pretty powerful organization, the American Conservative Union, which holds the annual CPAC event. He was previously accused of sexually assaulting an aide to former Senate candidate Herschel Walker. That case ended with a settlement. But the newest report comes from an independent reporter, Yashar Ali. If you're on Twitter or X, you've probably noticed him. He spoke to the alleged victim and multiple witnesses. He says that in total, he spoke to 7 sources who were a mix of men and women. And they all spoke to him on condition of anonymity because they did not want to suffer retaliation from Schlapp, who is well connected. Now, Ali also details that the restaurant and bar located in North Central Virginia is within close driving distance of a property owned by Schlapp and his wife, Mercy Schlapp, according to public records I reviewed. I have also reviewed video footage and photographs confirming Schlapp was present at the bar. Ali has some other receipts as well. He says that sources confirmed that Schlapp used a credit card in his name to set up a tab, which he did not close out. So that is some evidence. And Ali also has receipts. So sources who spoke to me, he said Schlapp entered the restaurant and bar on Saturday night and spent over an hour repeatedly standing very close to groups of men, making them, some of whom are gay, uncomfortable. He also allegedly intentionally and unnecessarily passed by the men in a way that allowed his body to closely graze against theirs, sources told me or tell me. And according to witnesses, Schlapp was within 2 feet or less of these men, despite there being plenty of space, making such proximity unnecessary. They told me that Schlapp followed them around while he was in the restaurant and bar. So he was being a complete and utter sex pest. But it goes even further than that. So he says that in the video footage that he reviewed but did not release, it visibly shows that Schlapp is getting close to the group of men when there was really no reason to be. There was plenty of space. So you don't really need to graze up against the guys to get through. And according to the man who was allegedly assaulted by Schlapp, every time I looked around, whether we were on the dance floor, at the bar, or back at the table talking to people, every time I turned around, this guy was right there, 1 foot behind me. And I was just not comfortable with this. And I mean, that's totally understandable. Multiple people in the group allegedly confronted Schlapp about how he was making them uncomfortable, including the victim's partner, who happens to be a woman. While the same man was asking Schlapp to leave because everyone felt uncomfortable with his presence and conduct, Schlapp, while the man was mid-sentence, grabbed and gripped his genitals while looking him directly in the eyes, the man told me. He was then, Schlapp was, escorted out of the bar by a manager, but did appear to eventually return to the bar later in the evening. This resulted in another heated confrontation, but the details about that occurred following his return, or the details of what occurred following his return remain kind of unclear. Ali stated that he had reached out to Schlapp regarding the allegations and his intent to publish this story. He wanted to get a comment from him, maybe get Schlapp's perspective. And he says that after I texted Schlapp the allegations and information about my story, he quickly called me twice and also texted asking me to call him. I told him I would call him back in 5 minutes, and he acknowledged my response. I returned the call 5 minutes later, but received no answer. My text message not only laid out the allegations, but also provided Schlapp with a specific deadline for comment. I stated that I would only speak to him or his representatives on the record and would not engage in off the record or on background conversations, a longstanding policy I follow when stories involve allegations of misconduct. So Yashar Ali has stated that Schlapp never returned his calls, texts, emails, or tweets. And while Schlapp is usually pretty active on the social media platform X, ever since he had reached out to Schlapp for comment, he has not been posting anything on the social media account.
Yeah, my contribution to this story is mainly making fun of Schlapp's name. So let's get to it, okay? Now, I normally call him Matt Schlippity-Schlapp, but I realize that, I'm leaving a lot of good stuff on the table. This appears to be a bit of the schlappening. Are you allowed to do that to me?
Thank you.
I think
Thank you
are. I think you are.
I appreciate it.
I do wonder, is this a Schlapp smear? Bit of a Schlapp flap here. All right, this is the guy. Oh, by the way, speaking of which, this is the first time I ever heard his wife's nickname. I never heard that before. I've always heard Mercedes Schlapp, and she worked in the Trump administration, so I've seen her in the news a lot. But Mercy, her being her nickname, is kind of perfect. Mercedes, I think this is when you say mercy, like enough. If you remember, Schlapp is the guy. When Anna mentioned the original charges with Herschel Walker's staffer, if you will, and he was in the car with the guy, and the guy described how Schlapp pummeled his crotch.
Ugh.
He's the original crotch plummeter, right?
He's disgusting. Okay, I mean, look, obviously nothing's been proven in court, so we have to do our due diligence. Allegedly, but if true, this is like what a predator does. This is predatory behavior. Okay, so look, I get it. Like his name is funny and we can clown on it, but grabbing someone's genitals like that and following them around and harassing them when they're just trying to have a good time at a bar, unacceptable, and he should be prosecuted for this.
Yeah, look, to which I say, of course, you don't go around grabbing people's genitals. Although there is a president right now who did brag about that. So, but he said women's genitals. I don't know if they have a different opinion when it's men's genitals. So that's so sad that our president is on tape saying you just grab him. Who cares? Grab him by the genitals. So
Cenk, he's on tape gesturing like giving a blowjob. Like that exists.
I know. But that's just a gesture. I don't care about gestures, and I don't care about his name. I'm just having fun with him. But like the actual sexual assault, as you say, Anna, is significant and deeply problematic, right? But I can't help it because the story is so funny. Because at the end of the night, since he didn't pay his bill, the guy who's running the bar apparently repeatedly was like, "Is Matt Schlapp here? Schlippity Schlapp. Anybody see Matt Schlapp?"
Oh my God.
Over and over. They're like, "Oh yeah, that's the guy who pummeled the crotches. That's that guy."
It's terrible. Men are interesting because obviously, like, I like men. I mean, I'm married, I like my man, right? But like women, straight women who like theoretically like penises, like we don't feel the need to pummel them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no,
Unless they're
that's
into
the thing.
that kind of thing.
But Anna, I know men, so I can tell you why he's doing this. Because like, you want to engage in that kind of behavior consensually in your bedroom, you're straight, you're gay, whatever, right? Free country, everybody loves, who cares, right? We're all in favor, you pummel away as long as it's consensual, right? So, but the reason he's doing this in public, I suspect, now the other one wasn't in public, that was in a car, etc. But I think that his fetish is to get caught, right? Like to get embarrassed publicly, because otherwise it makes no sense. It's totally and utterly mental to go to a bar and like we be within 1 foot of a dude when there's all this space. It's like super weird. And then his wife or girlfriend's right next to him, and when they call you out on it, you dive in. That's the craziest thing I've ever heard, right? So no, that's got to be part of the fetish for him, and so that's my best guess at it. But they're probably gonna wrap this up now, right? Like, well, he should wrap a lot of things up, but like he's the head of CPAC. They used to do that thing, and it used to be the biggest. Now there's other right-wing conventions that are bigger, and so if he was, Look, I don't know what the right wing is going to care more about. I know if he was left wing, the people, nobody would care that he was gay. They'd care that he's sexually assaulting people, right? For the right wing, he's going to have double trouble, right? They're not going to like any part of this schlappening.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.